we will try to get a good sound out of the Archean amp model in the AxeFx 3. To be honest, I don't know how this amp model is spelled. It's called somehow Archen or archean, and it's well, it's maybe a new model which came with a recent firmware update of the AxeFx 3. And if I remember correctly, it's a model which is resembling the PRS Archen amp, tube amp head. I personally have never played the original amp, but I played around a little bit with the Archen amp model here in the AxeFx 3, and I found out that it's, first of all, it's an amp which sounds very good already at stock settings, and second, it's very easy to get a good sound out of this amp just by itself, so you don't need any additional drive blocks or equalizers. And that is something which I really appreciate. There are some amp models which can do this in the AxeFx. For example, my favorite one, the Atomic High, is also similar, and the Friedman's, the PV 6505 models. But this is another one. This is a new one, and yeah, today I would like to show you my sound, and maybe we can try together to get the best sound out of this model. So I opened up the X editor here, and yeah, as you can see here we have this Archen, which is currently well selected, and we have another one, Archen Bright and Archen Clean, which I didn't check out. This is my lead tone. A little bit of Marty for you at the end. Yeah, sounds great to me. And yeah, by the way, today I'm playing a Harley Benton Fusion guitar. This is a beautiful blue color. This one has a great top, in my opinion. Yeah, maple neck, maple fretboard, HSH configuration with Roswells. Everything is stock. And yeah, it has locking tuners. If you are interested in these guitars and also in other Harley Benton guitars, check out my other videos. I have quite a lot of them. And yeah, if you are somehow involved with the Harley Benton company, please contact me and give me your stuff for a discount. So yeah, back to the topic. The AxeFx 3 Archean model. Sounds great, as you could hear. This was my lead tone, and I will show you my rhythm tone, which is basically the same, almost the same, just without the delay and without the pitch blocking gate. As you may know, I'm using the pitch effect a little bit usually to create some kind of 80s detune effect. So to show you that, this is the sound without the pitch. Kind of widens up the sound also a little bit like a stereo chorus would do. Let me just adjust the B string. Okay, and yeah, so let's take a look at the amp. I'll start with the second page here. As you can see, yeah, I was dialing back the bass and the mids a little bit, and also I raised the highs. But yeah, other than that, I didn't do that much to the sound on the next pages. So you can check the preamp page. As you can see, the input boost is not engaged, so the amp has quite a lot of gain already. Although these pickups here, the Roswells, are not very strong, so they don't have a high output. But I don't need an additional boost. So yeah, it's disengaged. I didn't cut any frequencies here after the preamp stage. Just left it at stock settings, I think. In this pages here, I didn't do anything because usually I don't do anything there. And yeah, the output EQ here, the 7-band EQ is selected, but as you can see, currently it's everything at 0. What I like to do personally is when I play higher notes, I want these frequencies here in the lower mid range, around 200, 400 Hertz, to be raised a little bit. So if I'm playing riffs, nothing happens. But if I'm playing a high note, as you can see, these faders go up a little bit. I do that with most of my high gain sounds, so yeah. It's nothing which changes the sound drastically, only if you're playing leads it helps. Yeah, and so these are my settings. And here in the chain you can see there's also nothing happening in the parametric EQ after the amp. And a little bit of reverb, multiband compression. But yeah, in the cap block I'm using my own IR, which is called the Shrek Guitar Murphy Pre 2. I can show you the sound with the with other IRs which are stock. So this is mine. Let's engage this. This is the 4x12 Recto standard mic with the Royal 121. It's louder, so yeah, it sounds a little bit better, of course, but that might be just due to the fact that it has a higher volume. Of course, you can play around with these IRs, but I personally prefer my Pliny 2 IR. Yeah, and my second scene, I'm using the same amp settings. As you can see here, I'm still on channel A in the amp block. The only thing I'm doing here is I'm using a delay here, stereo delay, stereo tape, syncopated. I've explained in another video if you're interested in that. And I'm raising the 400 Hz usually a little bit, but as you can see here, I didn't do it with that amp model, because I think it sounds already very mid-focused. And yeah, it sounds a little bit well, too mid-heavy in the lower mids for my taste. So if I would yeah, if I would be in need of a high gain tone, I would prefer my high gain tones that I that I created with the Atomica High. So I will show you that as a comparison. This is my usual high gain tone. But I think the other sound of the Archean amp model, of course it has more lower mids, but it's more or less good for vintage leads. So of course we could dial out some lower mids to get closer to the sound of the Atomica High. So let's try to do that. Although the delay here is very loud. Yeah, so I think I like that way more with the mids dialed back a little bit. So let's do it here also in the rhythm scene, and let's save it. So yeah, before I will show you how it sounds in the stock settings, and we will try to get our favorite sound from the scratch, I would like to show you how it sounds with a little bit of chorus. So let's engage the chorus. This is the Dimension 1, as you could see. One of my favorite chorus effects. Another one which I like quite a lot is the modulation of the 2290. Yeah, it's also working quite well with this amp model, I think. And yeah, finally, let's see how this amp sounds at stock settings. So everything at noon. As you can see, or at least for my taste, it has way too much bass and lower mids. And yeah. First of all, I think here in the input EQ at stock settings, maybe we don't have a high cut, so I resetted it. I think with the high cut disengaged, it's a little bit better. So of course the overpronounced mid-range is a little bit compensated because you get a little bit more of presence when you reset the high cut. So but it's still a little bit too much in the mids, I think. So let's try to reduce it a little bit. Here the mids are maybe affecting the upper mids, so as I would like to reduce the lower mids, I would try to use the bass. So as you can see, we end up somewhere near the sound which I saved. So dial back the bass and mids. That is the sound which I prefer with this amp model. Of course, it depends on your guitar and on your cabinet. So you should play around with that. But yeah, if you keep in mind that here the mids are affecting the upper mid-range, and if you like to reduce the lower mid-range, then use the bass or the Parametric EQ, like I did it here with the 245 Hz. Yeah, I think you can get a good sound which is also usable at loud volumes. Finally, we could check out the other one, the bright model, which I didn't do. Let's see how that sounds. So let's go back to the rhythm scene. Now let's compare it to the other one. Of course, it sounds more bright, as the name says, but in my opinion, it's a little bit more. I'm hearing a little bit more of a phasing issue in the upper mid range, and that is something which is hard to dial out. You can try to play around with the upper mid range. Overall, I think the models, the Bright and the other one, they are not that much different. So I personally prefer the other one, just the voicing of this non-Bright model. Yeah, so finally, I would like to show you another sound which I created here, which has a little bit less gain, and yeah, it's the same amp model. As you can see here, it's everything at noon, and yeah, that is the sound. split it humbucker. Very usable, I think, this amp model. It sounds great also at like these light crunch settings. Very flexible. Yeah, I hope this helps you to get the best results out of this amp model. And please post your comments below, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, see you soon. Bye!